Thank you all so much for joining the Greening Your Salon webinar hosted by Women's Voices for the Earth. My name is Jamie McConnell, and I'm the Director of Programs and Policy at Women's Voices for the Earth, and I will be facilitating the call today. I also wanted to introduce Maria, our Program and Outreach Manager. And Maria, I just realized I don't know your phone number to unmute you. So if you could message it to me, that would be great. And I will just get started. So I just wanted to give a little bit of background to Women's Voices for the Earth. We have been working on salon worker health and safety for over a decade, and we've released a number of reports and fact sheets that has really focused on chemical exposure from salon products in the workplace, in the salon workplace, including Beauty and its Beast, unmasking the impact of toxic chemicals on salon workers, toxic chemicals in salon products, what you need to know. And we also have a fact sheet, recommendations for reducing exposure in salons, and we have several resources on formaldehyde in hair straighteners, and those can all be found at our website at www.womensvoices.org under the resources section. So today's webinar will feature 4 salon owners from all over the country, and they'll be introducing themselves and including their salon name shortly. But we have Marla Gibson, Roya Ajori, Shade Shanafar, and Wynn Sisk, who have taken steps to make their salons healthier places to work. They will share why they decided to go green, how they did it, what products they use, and the challenges they faced along the way. And we do have this webinar slated for to be an hour and 15 minutes, and each presenter is going to speak for about 10 minutes, and then we wanted to make sure that we left plenty of time at the end for questions and a discussion, and everybody is muted. So when we get to the end of the webinar, I will unmute all the lines so we can have a conversation. Or if you'd like, you can also type a question into your chat box. I believe it is at the bottom of the left hand. On my screen, it's on the bottom left-hand corner. So let's see. And then to view the webinar slides, you have to click on the link that I sent you in the RSVP email. And I'm recording the webinar, as I said, so I know that everyone who RSVP'd, we had over 50 people RSVP to this webinar. Not everybody was able to make it to the actual webinar, but I will be sending out a recording to everybody who RSVP'd. It will also be on YouTube, our YouTube Women's Voices for the Earth YouTube channel, and you are welcome to share that out with your networks. So sorry, Maria, I can't figure out how to unmute you right now, but maybe at the end you'll be able to introduce yourself. But we're going to start with Marla, who is in Missoula, Montana, which is where Women's Voices for the Earth is headquartered. So Marla, let me go ahead and unmute you, and then you can take it away. Let's see. Okay, Marla, you should be able to speak.
Hi, my name is Marla. Thanks for having me on here. And are you going to ask me questions, or should I just kind of talk?
No, you can just go ahead and go into your story. We have your slide up so folks can see that.
Okay. Oh, yep, now I can see it. Sorry. So my name is Marla Gibson. My studio is called Alder Street Studio. I'm in Missoula, Montana. I'm a solo hairstylist. Basically, for a lot of reasons, it's definitely because of the organic salon part. About a year and a half ago, I went organic completely because of my health disorders, because I have fibromyalgia. And I was at the point of having to completely change careers or find how to do this better. So the things I've done to change my salon as far as going green is like the simple things is I use paper instead of foil. I have reduced, like when I mix color, I only use the amount I need. I change out all my lights to LED lights. I do, the recycle. I recycle as much as I can, and try to buy, use not new if I'm trying to buy like furniture or whatnot. And I do think the reason that I've become so passionate about becoming green and having other stylists go green is because I got so stinking sick. And I didn't understand how little the government regulates the beauty industry in the United States. I guess I was really naive in believing that if I bought something off of a shelf that it couldn't be unsafe for you. Not only did I not know that about salon products, I didn't know that about food or cleaning supplies or anything, and so you can probably gather why I was pretty darn sick. So as I started getting sicker and realizing I needed to change everything, I just kind of eased into the organic way of life. And so, I really believe it's, the progress over perfection. It's really hard to do everything at once, and it's super overwhelming. And so I just started little, picking one thing at a time to deal with, and then building on that. And when I decided to change the salon, that was kind of a big step, not a little step, but it's been really amazing, and my health has really changed, and my clientele has really changed. So one of the things, I have a lot of challenges that went along with going green. It wasn't all awesome because, one, I was really sick, and I canceled a lot of days early on due to illness. I can't tell you how many times I've had to call clients or text them and say, I just can't get out of bed. I have to reschedule you. And thank God they were very, very kind, and most people were very understanding. And then I decided to go green because of all of this, and all those loving clients left, and I lost 70% of my clientele. I realized later that, they supported me as a person, but the lifestyle my target clientele had led up to this point was not within the green values or organic values of life. So they didn't quite understand what I was doing, and they eventually all left. But that's opened me up for the new people I see, I love every day. They teach me things about being healthier, and it's been pretty awesome to watch this grow and change. Another of my challenges has been the expense. Being green is expensive, especially for a studio owner who is doing this alone. I don't have anybody else making money in the salon except for me. So, I want to do all these things and join all these movements, and it gets expensive. And one of the things I've had to learn, and I've just been learning it very recently, is in your town, if you dig deep enough, you can find recycle or ways to dispose of anything you need to dispose of, which is pretty awesome. I really thought that I had to pay someone to take my garbage or my waste. And in Missoula, I just found I can, as long as I keep it separated, I can take everything to different places, which is so neat. I love that. The only other challenge to that is I have to have garbage cans for everything, which can get kind of cluttery, but I'm working on that. Another of my challenges, I do believe, was understanding the difference between United States and European standards. Learning that the United States doesn't regulate anything was so foreign to me. And I also had to learn that just because something had a leaf on it or said it was natural or even said it was non-toxic or organic, that did not mean they were disclosing what their ingredients were or that those ingredients were safe. That was a big learning lesson for me. I actually got in a hairline color line that claimed organic, and this was my first attempt, and I got rid of all the toxic color, got in this quote unquote organic hair color, and every single client that sat in my chair broke out in the hives of some sort or had some type of a reaction. Their skin turned red, their scalp itched, they got the hives, and so really quickly I got rid of that one and moved on and finally found the company I ended up with that is out of Bologna, Italy. It's called Oway. It stands for Organic Way. And so far, for me, that company has done the best at helping me stay healthy and helping my clients not react. And, it's all progress over perfection. Again, they're not perfect, but I love that they're really working on it. And that's kind of what I love the best about this company. They use recycled glass, aluminum, and packaging and shipping materials. And if they can't, they use biodegradable if they can't get reusable. They actually make their bowls and brushes out of straw, which I think is kind of cool. They have refillables, take-home retail products, which is cool. And they really stand behind what they're trying to trying to teach us. They have a biodynamic farm that is fair trade. The ingredients that they, so if they can't grow it on their farm and make their products out of that, then they use fair trade organic ingredients. So I think that is a step in the right direction also. Let me think here. The other, another challenge, back to the learning about the differences between organic and European, is that I didn't also understand how ingredients could be disguised. And so I had to learn about, fragrances and, trigger words that meant one thing, but you thought they sounded safe. So that was another lesson that was hard for me to understand, and I'm learning. So on to my benefits. I just think it's really changed significantly. One, it's changed my house. Two, it's changed it's changed my business and who I am as a person. I am getting healthier. I see my symptoms slowly getting better and better all the time. I find resources every time I put out to the universe that I want to find, local recycling. It drops in my lap. It's just crazy awesome how that works. And now, the more I learn, the more I want to help other stylists and my clients. I want to educate people and help them understand what they're putting in their body and on their body is super important. And if you're doing it toxically, you're going to get sick down the road. You might not be sick right now, but it will catch up with you. And I had to learn the hard way, and I don't want anyone else to have to learn as hard as I had to learn, because it hasn't been a lot of fun. So that's kind of my story.
Thank you, Marla. We're gonna have. I know I have questions for you, but but we can do that. We'll save questions for the end. But one of them maybe you could just think about to share with us is any resources that helped you. Like if there are specific links, maybe you could put that in the chat box, or you could. We can share that at the end. Like, how did you find your products? Like, how did you know what ingredients to look for? Things like that. But thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to mute you now and unmute Roya. Okay, Roya.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Roya Jury. I'm very pleased to be joining this conversation, a really important conversation about greening your salon, how to stay away from toxins, how to have a healthy practice. I am a stylist of close to 40 years, cosmetologist, and I founded the very first green salon in California back in 2015. When there was no really a standards as to what it is, what it means to be a green salon. And so I just made it up, and it was a struggle. I kept thinking that somebody should do this great idea of green salon, and one morning I woke up and I realized that person was me. At the time, but I'm going to go into actually why I started this whole idea of a green salon. About 15, 16 years ago, I worked with my mom and sister. We had a little mom and pop salon, and I was trying to get pregnant. I was having a bunch of miscarriages back to back. There was autoimmune disorder issues in my family, lots of allergies, and it seemed like all three of us, we started having really bad declined health all at the same time. So which got my curiosity going, and I started reading, researching, and at the time there was a lot of materials out there from good sources that I found that was just blew my mind, and that I lived in the dark all these years. And the reason for that is I really believe that our industry, the giants that run our industry, really kept us in the dark. None of the trade shows ever mentioned anything about chemicals, ever mentioned about how to have a healthy practice. So therefore, none of us really encountered or addressed the elephant in the room. So when I started reading and finding out these information by myself, and how state of California considers some of these chemicals in our products to be carcinogenic, mutagenic neurotoxins, and on, I kind of put the two together, and it made sense that, overexposure to a lot of these chemicals for over periods of time, which we've been in the industry for a long time as a family, why we were having such a reaction to all these chemicals. So that's when really I initiated a green salon, which at the time the challenges were material costs, like denim jean insulation was expensive, and it was the only option available. Now there's newspaper. So I basically, like I said, there was no standards to what it means to have a green salon. So I kind of covered every angle, every aspect of creating a green space. For example, our countertops, our stations are made out of post-consumer recycled paper, which is very dense. It's fire resistant. And at the time, each one cost us as much as if you were going to buy a granite. So, and marmoleum flooring and, LED lighting, you name it, recycling, no paper goods, nothing paper. That was 16, 17 years ago, and a couple years after the salon was created, the city of Los Angeles created the very first green business program that certified us, which made us really credible from that certification. Between three of us, honestly, we spent around $40,000, which was a lot of products. Everything that we used was reused, refurbished. We bought secondhand. We got that money back in 1 year. And we have been a debt-free business since then. Our business have, tripled. There's always new clients seeking us out because we are a certified green salon and because we were the very first one to show up in California. And a few years after I became a certified green salon, I received also a Climate Leader Award from Cool California, a subsidiary of California Air Resources, which was a really prestigious award. And I believe I'm still the only salon to have received this in the 7-8 years that they have been doing this. So some of these acknowledgments from just these grassroots organizations really just fired me up to take it to the whole other level of activism, like you, Marla, that I wanted to make sure that, I was communicating to my clients, to my fellow stylists about all of this. And I really believe that, us as a stylist and our clientele, we have such an intimate relationship with our clients. Every time that someone sits in our chair, they give us permission to touch their hair. We create a trusting relationship that a lot can go on. And I find that to be super exciting, to have that opportunity of having a couple hours with someone and impacting the way that they live their lives. And I feel like I can introduce to them the whole ideas of sustainability in a variety of angles. I could address these various issues with my clientele. So I feel like I'm really making a difference. It has really made a big difference in the way that I do my business. And so other than, the challenges of material cost and at the time, 15 years ago, people were making fun of me. Are you going to make people's hair green? Are you having a green salon or this or that? But like I said, in no time, we gained we've always had a nice following as a business that have been around, but having a green salon 15 years ago really put us on a map in a whole other way. And some of the products that I found, I was very vehement at the time to be using everything from the United States, buy locally, support local economy, and I went on with that idea for about 12 years. I was using an American line that had only 24 colors. It was considered non-toxic. It was developed or formulated based on the European standards, but it had ammonia, and it wasn't really working that great. But because I wanted to buy American products, I was kind of going along, repeating a lot of hair colors, and not having a great success with the delivery of these products. And, tried different things. I kept researching. New things were coming into the market. I think that, industry, people were realizing that, hair color specifically is one of those, materials that sits on your scalp. It's highly, it's got a lot of chemicals, and, it doesn't evaporate into thin air. It actually seeps into your bloodstream and eventually builds up enough of those toxins that your body cannot get rid of, and it turns into, mutation. So, so it was important to find a color product that worked, and I tried many different things. Like Marla was saying that they were saying organic and this and that, and no company in the right mind is going to call a hair color organic. So that was one of the things that I became very aware of quickly, that if a company is calling themselves organic hair color, you want to stay from them, because a hair color cannot possibly be organic. Every single hair color, by their definition, it's a hair color. Unless you're using a henna, which is plant-based, you have to have a certain amount of chemicals, certain amount of synthetics to have it work. So, and that alone, it cannot possibly be an organic product. So I found a product line from Denmark, a country that I am completely in love with at the moment, and I think that we have so much to learn from, because this is a country that 70% of their renewable energy comes from biomass, which is basically a farm waste. So I started importing this product line not only to use at my own salon, but also to distribute in California. I became their distributor, and the entire line is created with zero waste, which is awesome, and everything is on recycle everything. And more I learn about the country, more I appreciate the products that are highly functional. Their wet line and styling products are all certified organic. They do come from organic farming, but their color, they call it natural base, with 89% of it being water. And water cannot be certified organic. And this is, again, another, really important point. This has the most water content of any color. It has less than 2% synthetics for it to work, and it's highly functional. So for businesses that want to just keep going, they want to not get sick, and they don't have to repeat it for them to have, costly consequence as a result of going green, then this is the company that, if I will definitely look it up, Naturalique. So that's one of the ways that, I use this line as a vehicle not only to make money, but to also have a way in. As a distributor of this line, I have a way into colors, hair salons in California, which allows me access to speak to the owners, to educate their stylists about all of these issues, and it makes my life so much more exciting. I wake up with a purpose that is bigger than anything that I've ever done, and it I feel like I make a difference in the world by just communicating, letting people know what's going on. And I'm just so happy that I came across Women's Voices for the Earth, and I've been active with them for a few years. And, I have to say, last year they passed the very first cosmetic full disclosure law in 70 years, which is a huge accomplishment. I am really proud to be part of this organization and other grassroots organizations that are doing tremendous amount of work on our behalf, because our industry is not really looking out for us. So as stylists, I think, it's really important to continue to educate ourselves about ingredients, about all of it, and help pass laws, because without these laws, what ends up happening is that only people that have money will be able to afford cleaner and greener products. And for those 12, 13, 14-year-olds that are wandering the aisles and they're wondering what to get, and then they have to be on top of it, a scientist or chemist of some sort to figure out, what to stay away from. And as we all know by now, the word natural and organic, it means nothing, especially in this country that there is no regulation. So everyone is using that. So how do we distinguish between all of these products and make a right choice? And that's really up to, I think, that not only supporting organizations like Women's Voices for the Earth, Black Women for Wellness, or Breast Cancer Prevention Partners. These are organizations that have tremendous amount of information, and we can utilize those information to pass it on to our clientele, educate ourselves, and help pass laws that are going to, make it mandatory for these chemicals to be tested before they put in the products, just like Europe, not the other way around, that where the proof of you have to prove if you're a consumer and get sick, the proof of the burden is on your neck, and to go prove that and hire chemists to prove that you have been damaged by certain products. So that's where we're headed, and I think that we live in a quite exciting times, and really happy to be part of it.
Great. Thank you so much, Roya. You mentioned the California bill, which was AB 2775, which was signed into law last year.
Yes.
Roya helped lobby for that bill in Sacramento with us, and it's the first bill in the nation. It was passed in California, but it's the first bill to require disclosure of ingredients in professional salon products directly on the label. They don't have to disclose all fragrance ingredients, but they have to disclose all other intentionally added ingredients on the label. So that's huge. So I'm going to move us along. There's a few other policy things, but I think I might mention them more towards the end. I'm going to unmute today now, and then I'll unmute everybody at the end for questions. I know I have a few. Thank you so much, Roya.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. My name is Sheeta Scheinfeld, and I own Komarabi Hair Studio in Huntington Beach. First of all, I'd like to thank Jamie and the incredible work that she is doing on behalf of Women's Voices for the Earth. Their beautiful mantra, our health, our future, toxic-free, really rings true for me, and I am honored to be a part of this panel of incredible women today to share a bit about the message of my salon. So I'm really proud that Komarabi is all vegan, gender neutral. I use all organic and non-ammoniated color and hair care. I'm super happy to also be partnered with Green Circle Salon. So before I opened Komorebi, I was working in salons and barbershops that were unfortunately not mindful when it came to sustainability and recycling and repurposing. So, for example, I would see trash bags filled with plastic and food and hair all in one. So it would go straight into the dumpster, which would then accumulate on landfills, releasing toxins and fumes, the plastic bag over time. And as we all know, plastic does not break down for many, many years. So this didn't sit well with me at all. And I knew this was not right for our earth, our health, and our future. So I researched alternative ways that the businesses that I was working for and supporting could go more green. So I was thrilled to find sustainable pathways, and I thought sharing this new information would motivate others to make the change. But to my dismay, each time I would bring it up to management, it was met with either a general aloofness or zero follow-through. So one can only try so much, and if people do not want to change, one must be the change they want to see. So therefore, I set upon to open Komorebi Hair Studio where I could implement my values and also share knowledge towards going green. So before opening my studio, I knew of Green Circle Salons, which is a program designed to recycle and repurpose up to 95% of salon waste from landfills and waterways. They are incredible programs that is super efficient, beautifully designed, and every individual that I've communicated with is so extremely passionate about this amazing mission of greening the earth. Since 2009, Green Circle Salon members have diverted over 2 million pounds of waste from landfills and waterways. So think about that. Just all this waste being diverted from landfills and waterways, over 2 million pounds. This is truly an incredible feat and one that is very efficient to implement in salons. When my clients come to Komorebi Hair Studio, they're instantly excited when I describe all the cool different bins I use to recycle hair, oils, and even leftover color can be recycled and repurposed. They are extremely happy to be a part of a cause that is doing so much good for the earth instead of causing harm. So I also use EcoHeads, which is an amazing water filter system when I cleanse my client's hair. It can be easily installed at any shampoo basin. It is very beautiful in design, but most importantly, it blocks out harsh toxins that are in the waterways, such as fluoride and chlorine, and it also helps conserve 65% of water. So not only do my clients appreciate that I'm protecting their hair, they instantly notice a difference with the softness and the shine of their hair. A lot of my clients, after noticing the clear difference with this filtered water system, ask me if they can install a filtered water system in their own showers. So it's great to hear that because I know the results are so apparent in creating a positive change. So one of the most important reasons that I opened Komorebi Hair Studio was that I'm very passionate about animal rights. And as a vegan, I can no longer work with hair care that contain animal-derived ingredients or are tested on animals. So all of my clients, including those that do not lead a vegan lifestyle, are very happy that there are these options that may have otherwise not have been chosen by them, and that work equally as well as non-vegan options. So I feel that being mindful of how we treat the innocent animals of this earth says a lot about us as a human collective. And when we start believing that animals are here with us and not for us, then there will be an immense shift towards universal peace. So, all of my products have been mindfully handpicked to meet all the marks of being free of toxins, non-GMOs, synthetic ingredients. They're organic, vegan, gender neutral. I research businesses to read about their mission, and what impact they are having on humanitarian, animal rights, and environmental topics. All three must be very aligned for me to move forward with investing my money and my support for the hair care businesses I chose in Komarabi. So I personally reached out to the companies I'm interested in to learn more, and most importantly, to build positive relationships. To me, it's wonderful that individuals have dreams and they can achieve them. Their dreams are then sent out into the world, and others can resonate with it and spread the word. So how wonderful is that? So I want to always be spreading the word about businesses and the people behind them that care. So just to wrap up what I'm speaking on today, I want to thank you all so much. I want to thank everyone who has so graciously listened to me to share my dreams of peace and a more beautiful green future for all of us, with pioneers that have been on this panel today, helping to raise our voices and come together through incredible webinars like today. We truly can connect and learn, and I am so grateful for that. So thank you for having me be a part of today's panel. It was an honor.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And I did hear from a few folks that you can't see the third today's slide, but it's up, so I'm not sure why a few folks are having issues with seeing the slides, but I clicked on it again, and I see it on my screen, which means it should be on your screen. So you might want to try to refresh your screen. So we have one more speaker today, and then we will open it up for questions. So so you should be seeing Wynn's slide right now, and I'm going to go ahead and unmute her. All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
you. Hello, everyone. I'm really, really, really honored to be here. I have been following Women's Voices for the Earth for quite some time now, and I'm in awe of all the work that they do to bring safer environments in the salon, but also just the knowledge that they're sharing to live a safer, healthier life. Like I said, my name is Wynn Fisk, and I have a new salon in just outside of Charlottesville, Virginia, Elemental Holistic Hair, Body, and Living. I'm a former salon owner from Charleston, South Carolina, of 13 years, and I am so crazy excited about the knowledge that I've learned because of my health challenges. Not saying that the health challenges were awesome, but they were what, forced me to start paying attention to what was in my environment. And I'm not just talking about the air we're breathing. I was looking at food originally and came to realize it was almost perfect timing. I was having thyroid challenges. Actually, the doctors thought that I had thyroid cancer, and it kind of prompted me to put my salon on the market because at the time I had 4 babies. I'd also gone through in vitro with no known cause as to why I wasn't able to have children. And so all of those things started helping me or making me kind of pay attention to what was in my environment. I moved from food into the products that I was using and the cleaning products and everything and anything in my environment. So when I sold my salon is when I was introduced to another company that's actually working to change the laws for more safer laws to protect consumers. And I started looking. I had this list of ingredients that should never be in any of your products. And I was looking at anything from lotion to toothpaste to deodorant to shampoos and conditioners. And I was blown away at what I found because I had been looking at labels on my products. I've been looking at words like organic, natural, botanical, safe, and that's where I was spending extra time and money to safeguard my family. And when I started thinking a little bit deeper and flipping the bottle over and actually looking at the ingredients, I was noticing that there were, petroleum-based chemicals. There were phthalates, which were scrambling our hormones, and parabens, which are linked to breast cancer. And I was floored. I could not believe it. And so it really piqued my interest and really fired me up, because I was one of those people that thought that I knew what I knew and realized I didn't know what I didn't know. And so I wanted to share that with other people. Fast forward 4 years later, I decided to open another salon because there aren't a whole lot of options for healthier, safer options out there. And just like one of the women mentioned earlier, if you see a salon that's marketing themselves as an organic hair color, that's a perfect example of greenwashing, because it's not possible. Yes, they can use organic ingredients, but there are also other ingredients in there, that aren't organic. So knowledge is power. So being able to identify those ingredients and products, and identify those companies that may be telling you something, and maybe that's not necessarily the truth. So I decided to open the salon to not only provide a safer, better option for consumers, but to also have the time with that client where you learn so much about them. You learn so much about their health struggles, or their health struggles in their family and their personal life, to be able to share the information that I was learning, because going back to knowledge is power, and the more information we have, the better choices we make when we're spending our money, which is actually how we're voting. And as I'm sharing what I'm learning, and as I'm asking the people that come into my salon to share what they're learning, we're able to bring up the harsh reality that we have massively weak regulations in the personal care industry in the United States, and just using our voice is action. And the more people that know, the more we share with, the more we can move the market. The ingredients that are in our personal care products, a lot of them have no business on our bodies, on our children's bodies. And the more that we share that information, the more, again, the markets are going to change. So, like one of the women mentioned before, we are a certified Green Circle Salon too. So we are basically recycling almost everything that we bring into the salon. We partner with companies, so we're looking at, again, not the marketing, but the ingredients in the products. Are they actually doing what they're saying? Does this company care about their bottom line more than they care about the consumer's health? These companies that we choose, that we bring into the salon, have to care about the consumer's health. Otherwise, they're not coming in the salon. Bottom line, if they're not doing the right thing, they're not coming in the salon. So we use color, original and mineral. We partner with Intelligent Nutrients. We partner with Beauty Counter, which is actually working to change the laws. And, all those companies, third-party certification, which is really important. But, in greening the salon, a lot of people say, yeah, there are massive challenges in doing anything clean and green, in this day and time. We're surrounded by ingredients and, chemicals that are wreaking havoc on our health. But using that knowledge to your advantage, looking on the bright side of it, you have little bits and pieces of information where you can take the first step to make better, safer choices. And as you get more comfortable with the better, safer choices, take another step and then another, and share with other people what you're learning. Because the choices that we're making today are shaping our tomorrows. And while making safer choices, maybe a little bit heavier on a wallet. Those years where I was not well for 4 years, seeking out answers from doctors and not getting answers, that was really expensive, and it was really hard. It was really hard to not be well. So shining a light on those blind spots for people, so that they don't have to go down the rabbit hole of being sick, paying for the doctor's appointments, sharing the information with them so that they can make those choices today. And one of my favorite things is that this information that I'm learning along the way and sharing with other people, I'm sharing it with my children. It's so hard for us living in this world that we live in sometimes to learn better, safer, information to change what we've been doing. But this younger generation that is so pure and innocent, and they don't know, if we tell them what we're learning from the beginning at a young age, they don't know any different. They don't have to relearn, and then they can go and share with other people what they're learning. And it's really cool to see those conversations happen. It's really cool to see my kids turn over bottles of whether it's food or product and say, Mommy, I see fragrance in here. Mommy, I see parabens in here. Mommy, I see pegs. Really simple words that they can point out. So go head on with the challenge. Find a mentor. Have somebody help you along the way, because you are constantly in front of these chemicals. You're constantly touching other people. And if you think about on a daily basis what you're coming in contact with, and then the information that you can share with your clients on a daily basis, you have started a movement for better. Mm-hmm. And I just challenge each and every one of you to start reading labels. If there's information out there all over the place about what we call never list ingredients. I'm happy to share that and share any of the experiences and successes that I've had along the way. Thank you so much for having me on. This is really awesome.
Thank you so much, Wynn. I really appreciate all of our speakers today sharing their stories. And if I could ask all of you to send me links maybe to the products you use in your green certification programs that are helping guide you, because I can include that in the email I send out to everybody who RSVP'd along with the recording. That would be great. Few things I wanted to say before I unmute everybody. Just wanted to mention, because regulation and policy has come up a few times, that there has been a bill introduced on the federal level called the Safe Cosmetics and Personal Care Products Act of 2019. It's been introduced by Jan Schakowsky. It's the cosmetics bill that Women's Voices for the Earth supports. And as it's been mentioned, right now in our country there are no requirements. Cosmetics are under-regulated, and there are no requirements that companies prove that, or they don't have to meet any kind of safety standard for the ingredients that they're using in their products. So one of the things this bill would do, the Safe Cosmetics and Personal Care Products Act of 2019, is require manufacturers of cosmetic products, which includes salon products, to meet a safety standard that protects the most vulnerable, including pregnant women and workers and children. The other bill I wanted to mention, because this has come up a few times too, is it is very true. There's no definition of what natural means. And Patrick Maloney, who's a representative, so he's in the House on the federal level, he represents New York, introduced the Natural Cosmetics Act. And basically what that act would do is set standards for what it means to be natural. So you can't just put natural on your label, that you actually have to meet some sort of federal standard. So I'm going to unmute everybody. You're welcome to type a message into the chat box if you're using the computer, or you could just say it over the phone. But if I could just ask folks, if you're not speaking, if you could just put your own phone on mute, that would be good to cut back.
The conference has been unmuted.
To cut down on some of the background noise. So we did have a question that, Roy, it was for you. But maybe other folks could just quickly name the products who presented on the call could name the products that they use, some of the brands that they're using, or some of them. Roya, she wanted to know what was the name of the Denmark, the products you use from Denmark.
It's called Natulique, means nature, Danish, Natulique, natulique.com. If you go, it will take you to the headquarters in Denmark, and you can read all about the family that owns it and what they have been, their ethos is just unlike any other company I have encountered. So that's the name.
Great. And I'll include that link in the follow-up.
Yeah.
Wen or Shade or Marla, can you just quickly name some of the products? I know that's of interest to folks, just some safer alternative products.
Sure. So this is Wen, and we use O&M color. There's no resorcinol, no PPD, no ammonia. We use intelligent nutrients, and then we also use Beauty Counter.
Okay.
Hi, this is Shida. I actually do have Natulique in my studio, and I cannot say enough amazing things about this color line and hair care line. It is incredible and 100% lives up to everything that they stand behind in terms of caring about people's health, caring about the environment. I personally communicated with Roya about this amazing product line and this amazing family, and my clients love it. When I mix the lightener, I literally bring it up to my client, and their eyes are like in shock that it has no scent or smell, odor whatsoever, that harsh bleach scent, what I'm talking about. It's the breathing quality, the air quality in my studio is so amazing. So, yes, I can't say enough of good things about Natulique. I use Natulique as well in my studio.
Great.
This is Marla, and I use Oway products, which are also, it's through simplyorganicbeauty.com, which is where O&M also. So we're kind of like, and I do use a few O&M products, but predominantly I use Oway.
Great. Did anyone have any questions? I have some questions, but I will hold those just to give other folks an opportunity to ask questions. Oh, let's see. We have a question. What are the alternatives to ammonia that's used in color removal for highlights, etc.? Do you know what ingredient they're using instead?
Should I answer that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, the company Natulique uses, they have replaced the ammonia with monoethylenamine, MEA, which a lot of the companies that use that don't have ammonia, they have replaced it with MEA. This particular MEA comes from coconut, and it's very small amounts. That's why our colors have amazing shine, and the cuticles are intact. They are not raised more than they need to be opened to let the color in. So even the amount of MEA, when the source of MEA is really important to know where it comes from.
MEA is what's used in O&M color as well.
Okay. Other questions, folks on the phone? I had a question about resources. Like, how did you find, what resources did you use that were kind of most helpful? So in terms of trying to find products, try to identify chemicals of concern. And if you could also send me some of those links too, I can include them. I mean, I know Women's Voices has some resources, but I'm sure you relied on some other resources to help kind of guide you in going green.
I use, specifically, I love the Campaign for Safe Cosmetics because it gives you so much information, where the chemical comes from, where, is it reproductive toxicity or environmental, and where it may be found or other names that it may be called. It's not, you have to look specifically for ingredients. So I literally will type in one ingredient name after the other and see what I find. So it's definitely time consuming. But, after a while, for instance, I talked about Beauty Counter, and we have a Never list, and that was my wallet go-to. I had a card in my wallet, and it was a little overwhelming at first, but I would compare, look at the Never list, look at products, look at the Never list, look at products, and I'd go to the EWG, and I'd go to, Campaign for Safe Cosmetics, and it just becomes kind of second nature after a while. Just, you start recognizing those ingredients. I did a lot of Google. It's like a rabbit hole Google search, a lot of times.
This is Raya. Yeah, I initially had read The Ugly Side of Cosmetics by Stacey Malcolm, she's one of the co-founders of EWG. Same thing with Safe Cosmetics campaign. Those were really good sources. I even went as far as calling Belgium, which is a scientific community in Europe, is where they decide on percentage what is safe, what is not safe. There's so much to these chemicals that as a layman, I don't know if I can really honestly say I understand or I recognize this or that. I mean, the main ones, I can identify and stay away from. But this is where actually a company that you are dealing with is what their integrity and their ethos, where they stand, and what they're telling you, how true that is. It comes in. Because I will never become a chemist. I am not a chemist, and I understand that one chemical might be okay, but then you put it next to another chemical, those two together might not be okay. So just because it's such a complicated, complex issue, I really heavily now rely on the company that I'm working with and how transparent they are and what they say they are. And but those were really good sources. I also know that EWG, just like there's another organization in Europe that they have blanket approach to chemicals. So if you see, for example, phenoldiamine, PPD, that it's in almost all hair colors, for example, EWG, if you have a PPD in your product, you're going to get scored kind of high because it's considered carcinogenic. It's a petroleum byproduct. But then Europe has a 2% limit on it, and but because there is no limitation on the amount of chemicals that they are saying it's bad, then a company that actually has a small amount of phenoldiamine that really it has to be there. It's been there for that's how the color works, or the derivative PTD. Then you've got this whole other issue because, again, knowing the amount is really important. That's where transparency of a company comes in. The company that I deal with, Naturalique, they have 0.005% phenoldiamine in their products, in their regular product. They also have a zero line, which has zero amount of phenoldiamine for those people that, for sure, they know that's their sensitivity. But if someone could be sensitive to lavender oil, and I've had those people as well. So, it's a complex situation, complex topic, but I think there's so much research people are finding, and there's good sources like, your organization, Women's Voices. There's a ton of resource there, a ton of stuff to read and get educated on.
I will say, too, there's a really great book called Fatter, Sicker, Poorer by Dr. Tresande. Fascinating book about, and it's, anybody can read it. It's not for those that are really geeking out on ingredients. It's just fascinating. So I would definitely recommend that. But for other people who would prefer to watch something, two of the documentaries that really just got me so fired up I couldn't even stand it were Stink.
Yes.
And the human experiment. The Human Experiment's a little bit older. Stink is more recent, but those films were and my kids watched them with me too. I mean, they were amazing.
And just a reminder, this call is slated to go for 15 after the hour, so we have 15 more minutes for questions. Yeah, it sounds like folks have used, there was a question about using the EWG Skin Deep database. Folks have used that, although that's mostly focused on retail cosmetics. It'd be great if we could get some more professional salon products in there as well.
Yeah. And also, I think for, EWG, is they're taking the average score too. So I think sometimes those can be the scores can be a little deceiving too.
There was a question about if there are any safer alternatives for hair straightening. We know that some hair straighteners can contain formaldehyde, but is there an alternative that's safer and still effective that you know about or that your salon uses?
Our company has created a product. It's a 3-part system. Doesn't have any formaldehyde. It's not done with high heat iron or anything like that. It's just 3 products that are used back to back. It is actually a product line that you can both perm with. It doesn't have thioglycolate. It has fruit acids. It's pH balanced, but it doesn't really give you a super straight hair. It does depuff and defrizz. It basically takes the frizz down and it takes the puffiness of the hair and it changes the texture of the curl where it becomes manageable and blow dries last longer. They have not encountered they haven't, created anything that has formaldehyde in it, thank God. I don't think they will ever do such a thing. But I don't know any other product other than what we got, the 3-part system. Anyone else?
I haven't found one either. I thought I found one, and then I started asking more questions. It was, the basic information on the website had me really excited about the product, and then when I called and I started asking more questions, it wasn't something that I was willing to use in the salon.
Yeah. Any other I have a question, but if there are folks on the phone that have a question, please speak up. I will be sending out a link to some of the products that folks mentioned, so that's a question that came up. I had a question about, I don't know if there are other salon workers on the call too that can provide some of this feedback, but what resources are needed? Because one of the things I'm thinking about as we talk about this is what is something Women's Voices should maybe look into developing a resource that would be useful for salon workers. We have some on our website. I feel like we've kind of help define why salon workers are disproportionately impacted by chemical exposure. And we have some, common chemicals to avoid in salon products. But I didn't know if there's maybe, and I'm not saying that we can do it, but it's just kind of interesting to hear from salon workers directly, what do you need? What would make your life easier in this kind of realm? Any thoughts on that? It's okay if there's not.
That's a tough question.
Jamie, I was thinking one of the things that, there's so many different, social media, there's so many different salon salon group sites. A lot of the hairstylists, and, I've been one for almost 40 years. Once we find a product that it's just we're comfortable with and we just keep going at it. And we don't think about changing it unless something drastic happens. And I think that if reaching out to those people that they are not curious enough to go look for the information themselves, but you make it available as far as them seeing, just little bits and pieces of reminders or little things that are posted on finding and posting it on some of these sites. That might bring, I know that you're not going to be able to put an article in a salon magazine, but maybe social media, if there is that reaching to those sites might, who knows, might change someone's life.
Yeah, yep, that's good. And I had a question about the green certification programs. Were those just a green business in general? Because I think it was Wynn and Roya or I don't know if all of you are certified as a green salon or what exact certification you went through, but was that through like tailored to salons, or is it just kind of more of your business or like for businesses in general?
I think it's businesses as in general. They have specific guidelines for salons, which is quite long. I remember sitting with the person that came from the city, like good 3 hours. I mean, she had this long list of applications and things that she continued asking me, and I'm so glad that it was so thorough, that it wasn't just, just because, I don't know, you have non-toxic products, you're a green salon. This was a very thorough investigation on what, all the various aspects of everything from recycling to ride sharing to you name it was in that criteria. And I believe that in California, all the cities like San Diego Green Business Program, there's San Francisco Green Business Program, and they identify and give certify those businesses, because when I went to receive my award in Sacramento from Cool California, they were awarding also. It was an award that went across the board on all sorts of, there was a winery that has gone completely green path, and there was all kinds of interesting businesses that were, utilizing the concepts and becoming sustainable or green.
Mhm.
Hi, my name is Kelly. I work for the San Francisco Green Business Program. And, you're just stating that there are, we have different programs in a lot of different cities throughout the state of California. And our checklist is more of a generalized checklist, and we do have sector-specific checklists. And hair salons is one of the things that we've been talking about and doing a bit of research on. But I'd say that most of the people in the program just have a lack of knowledge about, a lot of the different things that go into hair salons, whether, you mentioned straightening and chemical products for hair dye and all these things. And I think, we would really like to develop a sector-specific checklist for hair salons, and we also, need to be connected with the right resources on, what practices are actually safe and what practices are actually okay to move forward with, and trying to develop some standards to, create a more uniform process for hair salons to go green.
That would be great. And I think one of the challenging things too is going green is there's much more involved than just products, but certainly like how do you find safer alternatives to the products that you're using is, I feel like, a challenge for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We currently, we look at cleaning products for your office and your store and your salon, but we've never looked at products of, hair and what straighteners or electronics to use. So, this is very interesting to hear this call and everyone's input. So we appreciate that. I'd love to connect with everyone more that's on this panel and as well as the women's voices as well. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, and I think that with the California disclosure law passed, it's the first law, as I mentioned, that's passed in the nation that requires disclosure of ingredient and professional salon products directly on the label. We'll start to know even more about salon products. It's been difficult to have a really fuller picture of ingredients used in salon products besides what may be listed on the safety data sheet, which a lot of salon owners and workers actually don't even receive. So the safety data sheet is where hazardous ingredients need to be listed, but oftentimes those don't come with the products or they're not passed down to the employees. So they're really, we plan to do an analysis once the bill is fully implemented to of what ingredients are being used kind of across the board so we can just kind of get a more comprehensive picture. of exposure, and also be able to create a more comprehensive list of what to avoid. Right now, the list that we have on our website of ingredients to avoid in salon products is really based off what's listed on a safety data sheet. But there could be many more ingredients used in a salon product that have health concerns that are not listed on a safety data sheet. Let's see, we have another question. Are there any third-party verifications for salon products similar to EWG verified or to Safer Choice? I know that there is MadeSafe. MadeSafe has, I think their certification kind of program, and I believe they have certified some salon products. But I don't know off the top of my head which ones, but I think that they have done some colors. So that's worth looking into. Well, we just have 4 minutes left. Are there any other questions? Any other questions? Marla, I just had a quick question for you. Do you feel like you lost your clients when you switched over because you had to increase your costs?
Yes, definitely. And I think that it was challenging I think being in Missoula, I was a little naive and thought everybody knew and should and would love it. But there was I'm still shocked about here in our hometown how uneducated we are. That blows my mind.
Yeah. So there wasn't necessarily the market for it than there is in like a California or, it sounds like just people not understanding the value of it.
Right.
Oh, Marla, you're cutting out.
But it's growing so fast. It's insane.
Oh, great. That's great.
Let me see. I'll take you. Is it better?
Oh, I think, Marla, your phone is kind of scrambled, but that's okay. You know what? We only have 2 minutes left. I'll just give folks one more chance to ask questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to email everybody who RSVP'd. We had a lot of folks RSVP. Not everyone could make the call, but everyone who is on the call or RSVP'd will get a link to the recording that they can share. I will also ask the presenters to send me more information just about the resources that they used and the products they used, so I can include those links in the email that I sent out to folks. And I'm really interested in continuing this conversation, and I'm happy to have folks email me if anything comes up. You should have my email address when I send out the follow-up to the webinar. And I'm hoping that we can maybe have another webinar next year, early next quarter, just to bring salon workers and owners and others who are interested in this issue together to kind of talk about solutions and what's needed to increase salon worker health and safety. So I want to give a really big thank you to all of our presenters. Really appreciate you sharing kind of your journey, your story, and the resources that you've used to get you to where you are today. Appreciate your time, and I appreciate everyone who participated in the webinar, joined and is interested in this issue and is working on it. And I will send out this follow-up probably later today or definitely tomorrow. So appreciate everyone, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank
as
you
always.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Nice to meet everyone.